All right, we saw it as a likelihood all along. Gunther versus John Cena. He beats LA Knight in the finals tonight on SmackDown to earn being the final John Cena opponent. They had a dramatic final couple minutes of that match. I thought they did a nice job for people who were open-minded to the possibility of all the rumors of Gunther being the preordained. Everyone's preordained, but you know what I mean. The long leaked winner of the tournament. They did enough to kind of, I think, pull some fans in and go, hey, LA Knight might pull this big upset. Joshua, what do you think of the finale of this tournament?
Yeah, I think when I was on with you last time, we were admonished for assuming Gunther would make it to face Cena, and we ended up, of course, being right because everybody was right when they saw that coming.
Yeah.
But as far as the actual match, I thought it was really well done. It's one of the better LA Knight performances. I mean, Gunther is having good matches left and right. It's kind of what he does. Like his match with Solo recently, I thought was also quite good.
Yeah.
But you're right. This was a very dramatic ending. Like there were a couple moments where it looked like LA Knight might actually pull out the victory. Not that I bought them, but I'm like, oh, somebody else might have believed that. And that's pretty good.
Yep. Even Real Legend in the chat says, I bit in the last few minutes. You get wrapped up in that. And, the way they told the story, one of the keys to getting people to bite on a finish, to use Real Legend's phrase, is you can't do this all the time, but go into a sequence where people are familiar with that being the ending of matches in the past. Or the vibe and kind of the cadence leads to a finish. And they did that. I mean, it was a smart match. It was, well-worked match. And Gunther, Gunther cut the promo right before the match saying, John Cena, watch, not just that I win, but how I win. I'm not saying that was a giveaway because, people cut promos all the time, predicting victory. But it did kind of paint that picture of, okay, if Gunther wins with his sleeper, it's going to be the story's going to be, all right, I'm going to put you to sleep. You're going to fall asleep at the end of your career. But he won with a different finisher, but it was still, grounding him on the mat. And it sent the message, John, I'm going to put you to sleep. I'm going to knock you out. You're going to tap out to me. That's going to be the final scene of your career, either falling asleep or tapping out. And it does add, a visual element that Cena fans are going to be rooting against. And I genuinely don't know if Cena's going to beat Gunther. And they just think, Gunther will be able to come back from it, especially if they want to turn Gunther babyface. It won't matter at all. I'm not saying that's imminent, but at some point, they could factor that in as sort of a Booker's mindset. Oh, a heel can lose before they turn babyface. People won't remember. But Gunther could win. Cena goes out on the Shield, puts somebody over. It's his way of giving back and showing he's not like that other generation he was talking about in that weird clip about the way wrestling was right before he entered. Before he was part of changing the industry where wrestlers didn't protect their spot ever and just graciously gave away all the advice and all the main events and all the jobs to everybody else.
It's a fraternity now.
Yes, it is. Oh, everybody just gets along. There's no more factions. There's no more islands of people undercutting other people. And when wrestlers undercut other wrestlers, it's usually because they think the other wrestlers deserve to be undercut and that the company's not in good hands with them. Sometimes it also is just protecting their spots. It's a mix of all that. But that aside, So I'll throw to you. What do you expect to see with Cena and Gunther? I laid out a couple scenarios with either side winning.
Yeah, great. Actually, the fact that those scenarios all seemed viable to me makes this match actually kind of exciting. Like I genuinely don't know for sure how that's going to go, because you would assume that Cena just might win since he lost to Dom last week. You could see him maybe go ahead and winning on his last match, but he also wants to at least be perceived as somebody who's constantly giving back to the business. Now, is there any world where I see him tapping out, Mr. Never gives up to Gunther? That would be putting Gunther over huge. That seems like the least likely scenario and the one I think would be the most interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I'm genuinely not ruling anything out. A Cena win, a Gunther win, Cena passing out, Cena tapping out. It's Paul Levesque's booking, so maybe we'll have some sort of run-in, a distraction finish, and a completely unsatisfying finish to the match. I know you just almost melted in your chair there as I said something so awful. Jason D318 from Australia says, if Gunther puts Cena to sleep, does that count as Cena giving up? No. Cena got knocked out by a sleeper. Right? That's not. It's In fact, it's sort of the opposite of giving up. If you hold on in a submission hold long enough to pass out, that means you didn't give up. You passed out before you could. It doesn't mean you wouldn't have eventually, but if you get knocked out, you're out.
Right. They do that finish way too often, though, where the babyface won't give up and it goes to sleep instead. I'm actually kind of glad that LA Knight tapped out to that move, particularly since that's not a particularly established finisher for Gunther historically, anyways.
Yeah, it was kind of a STF takeoff, and which is fine. I mean, I think it's cool to have a visual that says, I've got a trick up my sleeve, and I'm going to apply, just kind of an inverted STF type move for the people watching that. That looks like something Cena might try to knock Gunther out with. Now, some might say, well, the story being told is Gunther's going to get Cena to tap out. Cena's going to refuse, and Gunther's going to keep trying. And then finally, Cena's going to reverse Gunther to an STF, and Gunther will tap and throw a fit, kick the ropes, and Cena celebrates to his music. And I don't rule that out either. And it's not the end of the world for Gunther if it happens. And I wouldn't begrudge it happening. I don't feel like John Cena's career or his retirement year should be judged on whether at the very end he does, quote, the right thing by putting someone else over, because, Gunther's going on 40 years old. It's not like he's making somebody. Gunther's going to be fine either way. He's made. People know who he is. And I've been critical of Cena this year for a variety of things he's done. The last real champion, the Cody Rhodes, lack of respect. But I am not going to hold it against him if in the end he wins his last match in DC. I mean, I'm okay if he loses. I'm okay if he wins too.
Right. Yeah. Like Gunther's like you said, he's not a young guy. While I think it would be a great boon to Gunther's career to beat Cena in his last match and quote unquote retire him, even though he retired himself like a year ago, like that would be great for Gunther. But if he loses and straight up clean, no questions asked, Gunther will be fine. He'll still have a prominent role at WrestleMania and probably be world champion again in the future. He would just do so with a little bit more clout if he managed to beat Cena in this match. So it's kind of a win-win. They can't lose no matter how they do it, unless they do something really stupid like you suggested with multiple run-ins.
You just jinxed it. They can't lose. It's win-win. No, it's win-win, lose. There's a bunch of options. I think they're less likely, but I don't think we can rule out the options. But yes, you can win. If Cena wins, you can win if Gunther wins. I think that. Cavanti says, glad tonight was a clean finish. Yeah, I am too. I mean, when they went to a close-up at one point late in the match with the camera, I thought, oh God, and the crowd started standing up. It was Knight was standing up out of I think a sleeper. I was like, are they going to a tight shot because somebody's running in? And then on my mind's like, who's going to be running in? Is it Jey Uso who goes crazy? He was a madman last week, and he's going to cause. And I was like, please no. And then it was fine. We got a clean finish. So I am good with that for sure. Sitwai, sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, says, I hope they wouldn't dare try a run-in for Cena's last match.
You hope? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the odds are very slim. In defensive Levesque's booking, I want to make sure it applies to this being an exception. He doesn't book run-in finishes because he loves them. He books them because he's trying to protect somebody else and under the guise of forwarding a feud. And that's just not at stake here. I think the situation is such where a clean finish makes more sense.
Yeah. Plus, his last match with Dom had enough run-ins for like the next 3 or 4 matches. Like there were enough run-ins to last Cena's career at this point in that match. So, and yeah, it would be a little disrespectful to book almost any run-in unless Edge runs in and spears him. I'll give him that. That would be an interesting counter.
Yeah. All right. That could be fun. Who's the other? Miz is so mad about not being on SNME. I'm not ruling out he doesn't. First remind me about Miz. Derek Mitchell in the chat goes, Michael Cole mentioned Gunther beat Goldberg in his retirement match. So if Gunther beats Cena, it's not uncommon, as HBK lost his last singles match against Undertaker when Ric Flair lost against HBK. So yeah, I think it's legit to think either option is possible. We talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show. If Gunther beats Cena, I'm not ruling it out. I'm okay with it. Obviously, if Gunther, they just want to put Gunther over big going into whatever WrestleMania plans they have for him. If Miz runs out and gloats, or Miz runs out and complains afterwards, then Cena can have an impromptu match, a bonus match against Miz. Miz grabs the mic, goes, I can't believe this. I should have been in this match. He's been ranting and raving about it. Are they not going to pay that off? I think they might pay it off. Miz comes out, and either it's a match or a non-official match, but Cena gives him an attitude adjustment and maybe a 3 count or an STF, and Miz taps out, symbolically, whatever. And then he kicks Miz out of the ring, and we have a happy moment for Cena to end with, and Miz gets his moment. So I think we can get a Gunther win, but Cena still, quote, wins, or actually wins his last. It would suck for Gunther to not be Cena's last opponent for winning the tournament. So I guess I kind of hope it's just he beats up Miz. I don't want it to actually be an actual impromptu match. Because I'd kind of suck to have an asterisk next to Gunther's name as Cena's last opponent. But I definitely am not ruling that out. What do you think, Joshua?
Yeah, no, actually, I think that would be, like you said, an actual match, I think, would actually be a bad idea for the asterisks that you just noted. But if Gunther is going to win, the live crowd would probably be better off going home on an up note of Miz getting beat up by Cena. Miz getting beat up is always going to be ending on a high note. That's always a good thing.
Yep, absolutely. Pile Driver Pete says, do it. Give Miz his flowers. And Derek Mitchell says, I hope there's enough time on Peacock just to beat up Miz. Real Legend goes, pay it off with a Cena squash. LOL.
That's on brand, at least.
Yeah, totally. All right. Fun stuff. All right, let's pause. We can talk more about this, and obviously a lot else on the show to talk about, but let's introduce ourselves here. This is the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Post Show for Friday, December 5th, 2025. I'm Wade Keller, host of the show, editor, publisher, founder of the Pro Wrestling Torch Weekly newsletter, and the website, PWTorch.com. I also host a variety of podcasts. Search Wade Keller in your podcast app, subscribe to the red and blue logo show, and while you're at it, search PW Torch and subscribe to the free PW Torch Daily Cast and the charcoal gray PW Torch VIP free sample feed. And you can also subscribe and upgrade within that PW Torch VIP podcast to unlock all the VIP shows with your Apple account. If you use Apple Podcast app and you're here mainly for podcasts, that's a good way to do it. Otherwise, you can get VIP membership through our VIP sign-up page, pwtorch.com/govip. I will put that graphic on the screen for our sale, which is running out soon. And you know it's running out soon because the coupon code has NOV in it, meaning November. But we are extending it because people are still signing up. And I know a lot of people are busy, and so we want to catch everybody and give people this offer. It is $9 off on a full VIP sub, 1 month, only $3.99 instead of $12.99. So get a full month of unlocking all VIP benefits, nearly 4 decades of archives, a VIP podcast feed that you can customize for individual shows all at once, divide by nostalgia and current events, or clusters of shows, all kinds of custom feeds compatible with multiple podcast apps, including the native Apple Podcast app. No password, no advanced settings. Just click a link when you sign up and you are in and subscribed. It also includes an ad-free version of our website, mobile and desktop, the new Wade Keller news bulletins, a PDF version, 1-page PDF with a top story, news and notes with some insider insights, and my end notes with random thoughts on things going on in wrestling. All that in a 1-page PDF format in landscape view on your laptop or tablet, or an all-text version to read on your iPhone, or an audio version, a podcast version on your podcast feed. 3 ways to read or hear or listen to the Wade Keller News Bulletins. A new one came out today with my analysis of the Netflix Warner Brothers deal and how it does or will or won't affect AEW. And so that was a top story. And then I also talked about LA Knight and Gunther, and caught up on some ratings news over Thanksgiving weekend and more. Don't miss out on that. That's VIP exclusive. Another reason to go VIP, pwtorch.com/govip. Coupon code NOV2025. NOV2025. And that gets you $9 off when you check out on our sign-up page and in the coupon code box, NOV2025. By the way, that'll give you a $9 discount off a 3-month or 1-year sub also. So if you want to go for a longer-term subscription, we pass the savings on to you because we have fewer fees if you pay once a year instead of 12 times. So we pass that savings on and then some. You can apply that $9 discount and bring that average monthly amount down even more if you're ready to commit to us and treat yourself to a Christmas gift that, trust me, you have earned. Every one of you has earned a Christmas gift of a VIP membership if you have not done that for yourself yet. So there we go. I'll remind you of the sale later in the show if I remember, but that graphic's on the screen. And to our podcast listeners, pwtorch.com/govip. All right, so we are here to talk SmackDown tonight, and I have with me as co-host Joshua White, and he is a PW Torch contributor who has a fan club. Did you know you have a fan club sprouting up in the chat?
I was not aware of a fan club. I knew that a certain number of people in the world, 3 or 4, like me. So that's good. That they're all in the chat, apparently.
Well, maybe so. Adam Kidd says, love seeing Josh become a staple on the post shows. And let's see. Oh no, that was it. No, I'm kidding. No. Mike Good to YouTube, whoever that could be, says Josh needs to be in post shows more often. And Derek Mitchell says, I agree. It's always great to see Josh. So there you go. Yeah. Feel free to lavish praise upon Josh if you agree with those sentiments. And really, frankly, I'd like to see if someone disagrees. Just put your name to it. Tell us why you're not happy to see Josh tonight, too. I think Josh would be.
That would actually be more interesting, I think.
Yes.
I have a pretty high opinion of myself. If you knock me down, that would be great. My wife would appreciate it, too.
I love it. Is there a creature behind you?
There's a dog in this area.
Is he the one making noise?
He is.
Hi, dog.
He found something outside, and he's been barking about it and chewing on it and running around the house and chasing the cat. Normal activity 24 hours a day.
I know how that goes. I have my fan club, too, by the way. Standard Deviation. Off topic. Hi, Wade. Thanks for your concise, comprehensive, quickly uploaded coverage of the Netflix WBD merger offer this morning. I woke up to the news, and you had already done the research. Best in the biz. Thank you, Standard Deviation. Pile Driver Pizzas. We need to see Jay's dog. Legit was going to type that. Josh's dog. Legit was going to type that. And Ashley's in the chat and says, hi, Adam. Okay. It's fun chat. You should be here live if you can join us. We are live on YouTube with our post shows, by the way. After Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, we also have a live post NXT show. Kelly Wells and Nate Lindbergh host that. We also have our weekend PLE specials. We're planning to do one after Saturday night's main event, too. We don't always do live shows after SNME, but that's the plan coming up a week from tomorrow. So join us here. It's the PWTorch YouTube channel. Search PWTorch or Wade Keller. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And most of our stuff is podcast only, but our three main post shows are on the Red Logo Show free. On the flagship earlier this week, Greg Parks joined me. We talked a lot about another TV deal, the TNA upgrade with their move to AMC next year. And I am planning to do a live post show here. We got to get a graphic ready for it after the first TNA show when they're live on Thursday on AMC. I assume they'll do a big show, and it'd be really fun for me to do a TNA post show. Hopefully with Darren Lilly. That would be the right person to talk to. He covers Impact, TNA Impact for PWTorch. But that is penciled in as a special show next month. Cool.
Great.
All right. Josh, tell people about what you do for the Torch.
Oh, yeah. I cover the show that does not have a podcast devoted to it. So AEW Collision is a show. It exists. It's on the air. Some people watch it. Most don't. And then I write about it. And most people, I assume, read that instead of watching it. It's what I like to believe.
I read it to decide what I should watch if I don't have time to watch it.
Right. And
yeah, it's good.
There's plenty of wrestling on that it might chunks of it, or at least we're skipping most weeks.
Yes. Cool. ROH Final Battle's going on right now. By the way, if you're interested in helping us out with any coverage on PWTorch, but especially ROH, we don't have someone covering the weekly show. We did for a while. He had to bow out. We'd love to hear from you. We have a great team of volunteers who really help round out our coverage, and you can be one of them. Volunteers welcome. Just send me a note, kellerwade@gmail.com, and put in the subject line you're interested in contributing, and tell me what shows you watch, what promotions you're interested in, if you want to do TV reports, feature reports, editorials, or other stuff, and we'll chat about it. The door's always open for that, and we have slots that open up regularly, and new ideas for columns along the way too. But even ROH especially, it'd be fun to get. People don't always. Speaking of shows people don't watch, Joshua. ROH is one of them. It's nice to have Torch style coverage of that on the site, and we just don't have that on a regular basis right now. So there you go.
Well, I considered watching Final Battle, but I had this thing to do, and then I considered watching the Braun Strowman show after the SmackDown, but I also had this thing to do. Thank God, otherwise I might be watching that.
Yes. By the way, you can be part of the show. Join us in the chat. You've already heard us reference it. If you're watching us live on YouTube, join us there. If you're watching us live on YouTube, by the way, please take a moment now to like this show, comment below, and also subscribe. That's the other thing people ask. Smash the subscribe button, as people said 2 years ago, and a few still say today. And what was I going to add to that? Oh, in the comments area, I especially would like to hear your opinion on what you want to see happen between Gunther and Cena. What would you be mad if Gunther won? Would you be mad if Cena won? We know you'll be mad if there's a run-in. But yeah, like really, what scenario would satisfy you most, or what do you fear most? Put that in the comments area. I'll look and I'll respond to some of those comments. Cool. Oh, you can email us too. Wade Keller postshow at gmail.com. If you're watching us now, if you don't watch us live on YouTube, you can email us and be part of the show that way. Wade Keller postshow at gmail.com if you want to get your comments on the show. All right. Let's get back to some SmackDown talk here. Anything else in the last few minutes that came to mind that you want to bring up about Gunther facing Cena?
No, like I said, I think it's no. Also, let me say this.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and nothing. Like I said, we it's exactly what we expected to happen, but it's still exciting. And I think they're on a. I think this tournament, now that's over, we can say actually turned out to be really good.
Yeah,
it gave them a nice focus. They had a lot of pretty good matches, interesting matchups, almost exclusively clean finishes, which is shocking most of all. Yeah, it is odd that they treat Cena's retirement match maybe with a little more pomp and circumstance than, I don't know, either world title, but I guess Cena retiring is a once in a lifetime thing. So I think this tournament has been just kind of a resounding success.
I'm curious if Sheamus hadn't gotten injured, if he would have made it to the final against Gunther, and we'd be talking about that.
That would have been a good match anyways.
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk about LA Knight for one more second here. And before we move on to the Cody Drew stuff and Jade and more. I'm interested where he goes from here. Like, you know, he was a little how did I put it in the Wade Keller news bulletin? I had a word for it, not that it's super special, but it was the right word for it.
The correct, succinct explanation for what it was.
Knight last week. This is really good radio because I'm just looking for something I wrote earlier. I can't even find it. Oh my god. Well, you're talking, I'll read. But I thought Knight acted heelish in wanting to get a bye last week. Because he felt like when Sheamus got hurt, he shouldn't have to. A bit petulant, I found the word. He acted a bit petulant about the idea that he didn't get a bye, that he didn't just get to advance. And I thought, well, what babyface says that? I know some people in this industry don't know what a babyface is supposed to talk like or act like anymore, but that felt a little weird, and I felt like maybe it was deliberate, planting seeds a little bit to get us feel a little bit different about Knight than when he's, you know, doing things that make you want to cheer him. And in today's Wade Keller news bulletin, I kind of ran down various opponents that might freshen up Knight if he were a heel, because there's some good babyface matchups for him on the roster on SmackDown and Raw. So I'm kind of curious if they do that. Like he comes up short here. It was a big opportunity for him. And does that lead to him being frustrated? Todd Martin on the Fix Talk yesterday about, you know, Jay and LA Knight are both kind of showing signs of turning heel. Can you turn both? Or do you just turn, you know, one of them? And if so, which one? Joshua, what do you think? And you can tie it into Jay too. Like, but more focus on LA Knight. Do you think a heel turn would freshen him up? They'd be risking a popular guy who's at the top of the second tier, bottom of the first tier, however you look at him. But he kind of has done maybe everything there is to be done. Maybe being heel would be fresh. I think he'd be a good heel.
Yeah, I think LA Knight would be a very good heel. He has some characteristics that are just kind of like already built in to be a heel. It's just that the crowd also likes him, which would also be a hurdle to get him to turn heel, because just because he turns heel doesn't mean the crowd's going to stop liking him. He's still going to cut at least like promos that engage people. Even as a heel, even if he's going after a baby face. And I don't think there's, unfortunately, a lot of baby faces that are so beloved that they would want to be going up against LA Knight, who's like, I think even if they did a solid heel turn on him, I think he would still get enough cheers that would be irritating to whoever has to go up against him. I did sense, like you and Todd, that the wanting to buy thing is like obvious heel behavior. But he was also right. Like in a tournament, if somebody can't go to the next round, you almost always get a bye. That's just kind of how that works. But yeah, specifically complaining about superhero behavior. But on the flip side, his promo tonight.
Pause. I would say to that, an interviewer should have said, LA Knight, you know, most people get a bye. Are you irked by this? And LA Knight should have gone, no, bring him on. I'll beat anybody. I mean,
yes, that is the appropriate babyface response, which is what kind of got us down this road, right?
Yeah.
I thought his promo tonight, though, was pretty clear-cut babyface stuff. Just, I'm going to beat Gunther and go on and fight John Cena, which obviously didn't happen. But yeah, I think he would be a good heel. I just don't know if the crowd will accept him turning heel unless it's I literally can't think of a babyface that they wouldn't side with LA Knight over.
Yeah, I think there's a way to take fans liking you and through betraying them in a way where you pretty much put an end to them liking you, but you want to do it in a sophisticated way, not a trope way where I always thought you were trailer park trash and you are like, just, whatever. It's like I roll. But I think there's, something to be said for your support hasn't gotten me anywhere. I should be in that match with Cena. And they could have done a spot, and I don't think they did, where Knight took a second to play to the crowd and it cost him, not as an excuse for him to lose, but as something for him as a callback if he were to turn heel, to go, I've been sitting here and people have told me I'm too preoccupied with you guys and you're so needy, and I feel like I have to, gesture to you when you cheer me, and that's cost me matches, and I would never lose if it weren't for you. There's a way to kind of like make the fans go, well, now we have to boo you because well, I don't know, maybe they cheer him louder to try to cause him to lose, but he would change his attitude and not buy into it. So I don't know. I think I'm not a defeatist as far as that goes. I think you can turn a popular wrestler heel if you do the right thing. A lot of times, baby faces have turned heel and they just want to keep getting pops. They keep wanting to do signature spots and they don't do the things that it takes to stop getting pops, like pull a table out from under the ring and then push it back under the ring. That gets you booed if you're a heel. Don't pull it out and set it up. That gets you cheered. You can do that in many ways, not just with tables.
Right, yeah, and LA Knight has the advantage of not having a super awesome popular theme song. He could keep his theme song and still be a heel. That would work out great for him.
By the way, your dog looks different.
Yeah, it turned into a cat. It does that sometimes. Like when the moon comes out, it's this weird thing. The cat
I looked away and then I looked back and it's like, wait, that's not the same dog. Sorry,
yeah, it's a cat now.
I'm as laser focused as a cat right now in my analysis here.
Yeah, but LA Knight,
yeah,
who is not a cat, like I said, I think he would be a good heel. And you're right. If they did it the right way, I think he could be a successful heel. If they turned the things people like about him around on the crowd, I think that would work perfectly fine. I just don't know if they're up to it. They haven't shown recently that that's something they've been committed to, although I just got Seth Rollins in my mind hard when I think about that. So maybe they could pull it off with Knight.
Yeah. Let's see what if the chat has anything to say about our conversation here about, there's a lot of stuff on Cena and Gunther I was looking at. We can go back to that later if we have time. Yeah, a lot of people. All right, so here's Cavante. Knight will need a positive reset. He had solid tournament matches except for tonight. I don't know. I mean, is there shame? There's not shame in losing to Gunther. I mean, he had a solid match tonight. He almost won.
Former world champion, whereas Knight has never even had a title like that. I mean, he hadn't even had the Intercontinental title, at least the U.S. title, which is, I think, considered to be the lesser of the two mid-card titles.
Yeah. Azan White says LA Knight was going heel at first, then Jey Uso on Monday changed my mind. I think we get more of Jey versus LA Knight as a feud. So that's Azan White.
Maybe they go heel as a tag team. Tag team division could use people.
That's true. Yeah, seriously. But it's Paul Levesque booking, so he's going to turn both heel and then immediately have them wrestle each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, yes, ambiguity.
Run in the middle of the match. I don't know how it goes.
Ambiguity leads to ambivalence, and that's Paul Levesque's specialty. We had that with Jade Cargo. We had that with the Kabuki Warriors tonight with Lash and Nia. Anyway, let's see. Real Legend says I could see a heel LA Knight becoming a world or WWE champion. Cavante says Jey has his slow heel turn journey. Knight could be an entertaining heel, circa Corporate Rock 99. Sai Twice says I can't read too much into LA Knight acting heel. They seem to blur the lines too much. See also Jey Uso, the Wyatt Six, and now Solus Koa and company. Yeah. People commenting on some other things. We'll get to that. If Kamati says if Jey and Knight turn heel, Raw will have a face void since Punk isn't a weekly character. Yeah, that is an issue. And I did look at the depth chart when kind of pitching the Knight turn, and it yeah. I mean, there's good matches for Knight, but they don't want to turn anyone else. They need to fortify a bit. Derek Mitchell says I think LA Knight, like a lot of performers in the past in the upper mid card, is more of a supporting actor than a lead actor. Do you agree with that? I mean, I think he's earned his way to me saying, hey, if he gets a quote sort of a token world title run, I'd be okay with that. But he isn't. I think some people see him as like, well, he can be the biggest star in WWE, or he's a notch below for whatever reason, the intangibles. Maybe if he was 26 and still had room to improve, but this is what you get. I don't think it's top guy.
Yeah, no, I think he's notched like exactly where he should be, upper mid card. Like he should be able to go this far into the tournament, and then he should lose to Gunther. I think he's notched exactly right for him, and there's no shame in that. You need people at that level, and I think he's a great fit for that. And I'm not, like you said, against like a token world title run, like not a dominant world title run, but a as a heel, a fluke victory, and then trying like hell to hold on to the title for a while. That would not be a bad role for him. That would be, I think, a good use of his talents.
I agree. Jason D in Australia says, interesting that the announcers kept going on about Knight being more of an entertainer, which I thought is unfair to Knight's character, as he is always focused on winning and championships. Josh, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, Graves did call Knight out at one point in the match for playing to the crowd when he should be on somebody like Gunther. So there's something to that, and that could actually
Play on what I
be
said.
related to our supposed heel turn that
Yeah.
may or may not be coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did play that up a little bit, and maybe there's something to that, and maybe we'll never hear about it again.
Yeah. All right. Derek Mitchell says, it seems like the fans have accepted LA Knight as a babyface and would accept him as a heel. You want a great reaction versus a reaction like the Motor City Machine Guns. Poor MCMGs. Real Legend, they're happy. I mean, they're getting national exposure late in their career, earning good money, and having good matches. Real Legend says, if LA Knight turns heel, does he stop saying yeah and say nah?
Oh no, I guarantee he keeps saying yeah because he still wants to get the pop and crowd interaction. But yeah, no, he would have to get rid of that. You would assume if he was fully committed to actually being a heel.
Yeah. If you're a moron, say yeah, and the crowd goes, yeah, and he goes, gotcha. Turn it around. I don't know. All right. If Knight is a babyface version of Drew as far as a main event guy perception, I don't know. I mean, Drew's higher. I mean, Drew's in War Games, LA Knight's not. I mean,
right.
Drew's going to be in world title matches. LA Knight might not be.
Right. Drew is a former world champion to start, and also probably another future world champion unless things go sideways. So I would say he's a couple notches above Knight, which good for him. I would say Drew is better in most every measurable than Knight, who again I like.
Absolutely. Yeah. Derek Hubbard goes, a promotion needs a beatable upper level character who has enough credibility to give a boost to someone on the rise who beats him, and that is LA Knight. That is important to have. And yeah, it fits him. It fits him.
Yeah, following his performance in this tournament, whoever beats him next is going to get like a little bump. They're going to be below Gunther, but above Knight. That's a good spot to be for someone on the up.
Yep. All right. Let's shift to Cody and Drew. Drew gets out of a pickup truck, and Nick Aldis goes, "What are you doing here? You're suspended." And Drew's like, "Well, I won War Games. Our team won War Games. Braun gets a title match, so I should get my suspension lifted." And Aldis like, "That's not exactly how it works." And he told him to go away. Drew frustrated as always, but then Cody attacks Drew in his pickup truck. He came in through the passenger side, pulled his hair, which was quite.
He pulled his hair pretty hard.
Yes, wow. And then Cody, in a rage, goes to the ring and says he Drew broke an unwritten rule in wrestling, which is you don't go into people's buses. I didn't know there's a rule, but it's what?
It was unwritten.
Unwritten, yeah, but I'm aware of some unwritten rules. People tell me things. I don't just have to read the rules, and I didn't heard that one before. Actually, it totally makes sense in real life. I can see Cody like pulling something like that. Who's wandering into other people's personal buses without permission anyway? But apparently Drew. Then he beat up Cody, and Cody goes, "My wife sleeps in there. My kid's playing there," and so Cody said, "It's the old thing for the territory days I've been calling for years to come back." The neutral authority figure suspends a heel, justifiably so, and the babyface says, "No, I want him in the ring, remove his suspension," and I think we're getting that. So it worked. Derek Hubbard said, "I like the start of the show. It was a subtle change in format that added an early boost to the show." Real Legend says, "Cody attacking Drew in his car made me laugh so hard. LOL." Yeah, Josh, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought the attack was a literal, as you noted, hair pulley and not particularly vicious. It just seemed like weird foreplay. But I think I immediately thought of you when Cody marched through the ring and demanded that Nick release the suspension. I'm like, yep, Wade will appreciate this. He's been calling for this for a decade or so.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the whole Drew suspension has been silly and or badly timed. I feel like maybe they pulled Drew out because of War Games and Seth's injury, because I feel like he was probably supposed to actually be suspended during a period of time. So we'll never really know. But this at least explains why he'd be coming out of suspension, which is great. It is weird that Cody is so mad about that bus attack, but he also was just in a brutal, violent cage match with Drew, where, as far as I can tell, I didn't advance that storyline at all.
I
Like,
was
that's
thinking
kind of
about
match
that.
should be ending feuds, but it
Yeah.
seemed like it was just a pit stop unrelated to their feud, even though they were both in one of the most violent matches of all time.
I was thinking that too, and it's like, well, I want his suspension lifted so I can get him in the ring. It's like, you just had him in the ring. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect in that sense.
It is imperfect.
Yes, it is. It makes me think, yeah, Seth. I don't know if there's been reporting on it. I haven't heard, like, if Seth would have been on the match instead of Drew. If that was like the official fill-in. I mean, it makes sense that would have been the case. So yeah, we might have had to patch up an empty spot in the match. Derek Mitchell says, Cole asked if Nick Aldis would uphold the integrity of his brand by keeping Drew suspended. I understand Cole's concern, but Aldis was duped last week by The Miz and finally addressed it this week. Derek Hubbard says Cody's a good example of a guy who sets the default as dignified to make his fired up promos more effective. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about like Hangman Page. He's just raging every week, like 10, it's not just 10 out of 10. It's like, it just goes up to 11 and beyond. And, it's the Dolph Ziggler school of promos. Just yell and you'll get over. If you yell all the time, you'll be over. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
It never works.
No. I mean, and, I always use Mo Joe's my go-to example. Joe's so much better when he's talking softly and you're just hanging on his every word because he's so. But when he starts frothing the mouth and yelling, you're like, oh, he's a bug-eyed yelling generic heel that anybody can yell and try to get themselves over. It's when you can hold people's attention talking softly that you've got charisma. And yeah, Cody has it. He is a dignified personality. He wants to conduct himself with class and dignity. Decorum is the word I was looking for at the beginning of that sentence. And so when he breaks from it, it feels like it's a serious deal. And I thought he was effective in that role tonight.
Yeah, he's kind of portrayed as generally, collected kind of guy, but he is notably, like, he's frustrated, he's mad, and that makes sense. This is the kind of reason where you might be upset and you're going to be basically yelling. And even then, it wasn't like an annoying yelling. It was just kind of like a very aggressive talking. It wasn't in that over modulating or screaming into the microphone or anything. So yeah, I thought this was a good impassioned promo from Cody, just kind of with all the other issues that this feud has, this I think is at least a good step in it.
Good differentiation there. All right. All right. So let's talk Ilya Dragunov's U.S. title open challenge. Carmelo Hayes next up in line. They did a lot of developments in this tonight. I mean, continuations of things, but they Ciampa, and it's interesting. Ciampa keeps obsessing about Dragunov and Gargano for at least a second week in a row. It's like, yeah, but the tag titles. So you can see there's a clash of interest there, and Gargano's trying to reel Ciampa away from his obsession with Dragunov and getting frustrated. So that's headed somewhere. And then by the end, I really like this finish. I'm not a fan of interference, and I think you can justify every interference individually in a vacuum. In isolation, you still have to step back and go, are we doing it too much? Do we have to sacrifice it sometimes in order to not have that be the norm? So I with that caveat, I liked this because Ciampa interfered and cost Carmelo the match and helped lead to the finish. And Dragunov was celebrating the win, thinking he won. He didn't see the interference, and then he saw it on replay, and it just took everything away from the victory for him. He wants to win with honor. He said that. And so he's celebrating a win that now he feels he didn't deserve. And he was just distraught over it. And that led to him, kind of like Cody demanding a match with Drew. He demands to Aldis later, give me that match. Ciampa wants it. I want it now too. I want to shut this guy up and put him in his place. And I thought it was a well done sequence. Your thoughts on that, Joshua?
Yeah. So taking away the default interference finish, bad thought. Like, as soon as you saw Carmelo walk past DIY in the backstage, like, oh, well, he shouldn't have stopped and talked to them. That's not going to go well for the match he's about to have. Yeah. So not only that, it played that hand. It was obviously going to happen. But like you were saying, you can excuse it occasionally, but I think this is one of the times when it actually works because it furthers the storyline between Dragunov and Ciampa. And like you said, that was I might have still hated this as a finish if Dragunov hadn't been so upset about winning in that fashion.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that really
That's the key.
sells that that cheating is wrong. He's an
Yep.
honorable champion, and ironically, he's going to give Ciampa exactly what he wants. But the point is, he gets to get his hands on Ciampa. Yeah, so it's a storyline development and not a cop-out finish like it almost always is when they do an interference finish. So I think in this situation, it worked out as well as you possibly could. And I thought it was actually a very good match. I thought it was great that Carmelo had the crowd behind him as much as he did. I thought that was really a good thing to see. And
even against a babyface.
Yeah, even against another babyface. And at one point, Dragunov yelled, "Come on!" The crowd's like, "Yes!" And then Carmelo's like, "Come on!" The crowd's like, "Yes!" I was like, "Yeah, that's good. This is good. It's good stuff." Yeah, I thought that was a really good segment. Again, all things being equal, I'll take a clean finish. But I think if we're not getting a clean finish, this is the best possible way it could have went down.
Yeah, this had more good than bad that came out of it. And like you said, it didn't feel like, well, we don't want to job out Hayes, so we're going to have interference to try to soften it. This was done for a purpose it was the domino that got knocked over that led to Dragunov insisting on a match with Ciampa, which he had been, delighting in resisting giving him, keeping it from him. And now he's like, no, it's time. It's time. I don't want him tainting my wins. I want to know I'm good. I don't want people to help me and take away my chance to prove I'm the best. So now Dragunov has to also insist on Carmelo getting a rematch because he just rewarded the guy who interfered. He ought to reward Carmelo who got cheated out of the win. And I think that would be a logical follow-up that when the dust clears and he beats Ciampa, assuming he does, you should go to Aldis and go, okay, I got that out of my system, but Hayes deserves a rematch. We're just getting started when there was interference. So hopefully he's a stand-up guy in lobbies for that too.
Right. That would be a good next step as soon as Dragunov beats Ciampa, presumably.
Yeah.
I think, that's kind of writes itself in the way it should go, and hopefully it will go.
And Aldis has a chance to show. They have a chance to show that Aldis is a logical GM and doesn't want to reward interference. He should be reluctant to give Ciampa the match because Dragunov insisted on it. The same way that he should be reluctant to unsuspend Drew because Cody wants it. But ultimately, you give into the babyface wanting it. But yeah, there's a way to even things out, and that is volunteer to give Hayes the rematch without Hayes having to lobby for it. Very good. Let's see. Real Legend says, like I've been saying, if Ilya gave Ciampa his match a month ago, we would have been long past this. Amazing what better booking does, says Adam Kidd. Derek Mitchell says, Dragunov asked Nick Aldis to book himself versus Ciampa because he wanted to keep the integrity of the U.S. title. I don't know that. I guess if he's saying if I beat him, he'll just stop interfering in my matches and that can help me win, fight even matches. So I guess the only way that makes sense to me, if we're going to nitpick, is that Ciampa he thinks beating Ciampa will stop Ciampa from being obsessed with him, and he'll move on to other things. Is that fair?
Yeah, I assume that's how Dragunov is thinking. And if nothing else, he gets to get his hands on him, so to speak, for interfering. But presumably that would be the end of it. At least you have to assume Dragunov thinks that, and that also makes the most sense in the storyline sense.
Yes. Yep. Derek Hubbard says, I feel Carmelo is building some momentum. I hope they have a path forward that leads to more focus and upward mobility. Adam Kidd says, Melo's been very good lately. What is, it's sort of a generic question, but I think it's worth asking. What is Carmelo's upside, do you think? Is he LA Knight level babyface for a long time? Is it more than that? Is that too much? Too high?
No, I think LA Knight level is probably about right. I mean, unless he catches fire and shows something I haven't seen in him, and he's like, oh, well, let's put him in the world titles. And I think, a high-level mid-card babyface is not where he's at right now, but I think it's where he's on a trajectory to be. And, after WrestleMania, I think he could be a guy they could lean on in that area of the card. I think he'll be great at it. I think I would like to see more from him promo-wise, but, in the ring, I think he's just one of the better guys they got on the Smackdown roster, especially. I think he's got a lot of upside. Like I said, world title if something crazy happens. Like if he catches on, like say Daniel Bryan today, then I think they could push him to that point. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Derek Mitchell says, I agree with Adam's assessment that Melo's been very good lately, and I hope he's on track for some good booking and doesn't regress. Standard Deviation adds, Melo has a good hairline for one.
That's probably the second most important thing in wrestling.
Yes. Yep. Think of how big Hulk Hogan could have been with the right hairline.
Right? Could you imagine?
Actually, he got over when he had hair, and then it was a fight against a headwind ever since.
I mean, think of what Stone Cold could have done if he only could have kept that beautiful blonde hair.
That's right. That's right. And John Cena, you know, I mean,
Well,
yeah, the
he's been
hairline.
doing really good since he got the transplant. It was
Yeah,
kind of rough
yeah,
there for a while, but his hair's looking good, and he's been performing quite well.
yes, yep. Very good. All right. Kyrie and Alexa Bliss have a match. Bliss wins in 7 minutes. Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, attack Bliss and Charlotte. But then they also attack Kyrie. Asuka made the save. Jax dropped Asuka hard on the mat, by the way, and then Lash gave Kyrie a boot to the face, which showed some light. It's probably a better way to not get injured, but not as entertaining to watch. What did you think of that? I called it the Paul Levesque special. You know, just fans are like, boo, Asuka, boo, Kyrie. Oh, cheer, Asuka, cheer, Kyrie. I have mixed feelings now, and that makes me want to buy a ticket so I can not know how to respond to somebody because I am, I'm now thinking good things about them. And I don't know. I mean, to me, it's when it happens, especially in the tag division or the women's division, where it's like he doesn't want to give a bunch of segments to individual feuds, so he groups them all together. But we not just gonna have heels against faces. We got to have super heels and then sort of lean heels and lean baby face and super baby faces, and it's more real that way because in life everything's not black and white. It's like, well, right, but you're in control of telling stories and you want crowd responses, and given those two factors, you might as well make things a little bit more black and white. Doesn't mean the baby faces have to all be the same and boring, but it should be pretty clear, and you don't create this constant conflict of fans' emotions. Like the Jade, let's turn her heel and then have her immediately feud with Chelsea Green, who starts off the match by yelling at Jade Cargill and distracting her in an annoying way. But then sort of turn her baby face by default when Julia and
When Julia and Kiana James, also heels, come down to the match to
yes.
attack Chelsea, heel, to distract heel. So Jade heel can win.
Yep.
That's not even what we're talking about. So for the women's tag kerfuffle that we are actually talking about, on the one hand, conceptually, I think it's good. Like, not everybody should be getting along all the time, and it's good that all the women all of a sudden are really interested in the women's tag titles, which nobody has been for the past, I don't know, decade or however long they've been around. So I think that's a good development. And yeah, if they're all going for the title, it's going to make sense that they're going to not get along at times. But it is odd, and they do it almost every time, where they have the baby faces sniping at the other baby faces, going back and forth in a way that's not progressive for either of them, when they should really just, it's pretty simple. You have one set of baby faces taking shots at the heel, one set of heels, and you have the other baby faces taking shots at the other heels or both heels or whatever. Heels can take all the shots, but you don't need the baby face throwing shots across bow. It's unnecessary and counterproductive. Yeah, so not great. And also, as far as this match is concerned, I thought it was mostly good, except for the ending was very obvious what's happening. Like when you zoom in on Kyrie standing up onto the top rope for 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was. But somehow, even though she stood up there for, I don't know, half a decade or so, she didn't notice Alexa Bliss stood all the way up onto her feet and just leapt into her arms. Like it was contrived, stupid.
Yep.
And then when Charlotte and Alexa go to celebrate, Charlotte looks back. She clearly sees Nia Jax and Lash Legend running and makes sure to quickly turn back the camera to not see them. And they get attacked from behind. And it was not a great segment overall for a multitude of reasons.
I want there to be a czar of logic hired by WWE and just review every. There you go. Yeah. I mean, just when you're making, I'm not saying this is easy to do, but the path of least resistance to get from the point you're at to the story, to the end and the story, it isn't always the best way. Sometimes you want to put a little extra thought and go, how can we make this look good? The way to do it, they think, is, well, we're going to zoom in on someone so you can't see what's happening elsewhere, but that's a tell. And now we know you're up to your old tricks. So yeah, just sometimes you can't do what you want to do because there's no way to make it look good without a big eye roll as it happens. But yeah, a czar of logic for everything would be nice. And by the way, WWE and AEW can share him or her if they're very good. I mean, just like
I'll do it for both for free.
Well, we do it on the show every week for free, and I think it sometimes makes a difference. But we don't get to. It's always after the fact. It's not beforehand. I want this to not make air. But I mean, honestly, it shouldn't take a czar of logic to see some of this stuff.
Right. You'd think one of the wrestlers in the ring would notice that there's an issue, but here we are.
Yeah, and a lot they're just Right. I mean, a lot of times wrestlers show up. They work for a big corporation now. It's not like this family business sense of community. It's, Cena painted a fun
It's a
picture.
fraternity.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they just show up. They get paid. They want to do their job. They don't want to seem difficult. And that's the culture. And I mean, obviously, they're doing fine. They're doing really well. But there's a pride and they have WWE has resources. Like, not every small business has a resource to put everything on the shelf, making it look pretty all hours of the day. When you walk into the store, sometimes the shelves are a mess, and you're like, well, it's a small business, I can deal with it. But if every time you go to Target the last 3 years, because the chairman cut back on employees, and now all the stores just look like some dollar store that hasn't been tended to, you start resenting it because, like, they have the resources. Let's maybe cut back on the bonuses for the top executives, and let's make the stores look nice again, because that's one of the reasons people like to go to Target. With WWE, people would like to go to WWE and not roll their eyes at dumb stuff and not watch it on TV and go, well, I know what's about to happen, because they're doing this weird thing again where they zoom in on a baby face. So anyway, I got a little ranted on Target. That's real good.
It happens.
Yes. All right. I don't know if I even want to follow up on the tag team situation in that angle. Well, I'll say this. How about what do you think of what they've been doing with Bliss and Charlotte in particular? Let's set aside all the heels who are fighting each other here. Did you like their promo tonight and the follow-up with Kathy Kelly's interview with Charlotte about you got along with Rhea, you had success, how do you feel about it? And how kind of Charlotte and Bliss are still playfully sort of poking fun at each other a little bit in a playful way. Is it working? Does it feel less speaking of contrivances, less contrived than it did earlier?
I don't know. It still seems a little overly scripted, and part of that's probably Charlotte's acting, but I think it's working better than one would have guessed. Like, if 3 months ago you told me, oh yeah, Alexa Bliss is going to keep up with Charlotte and people are going to start actually liking Charlotte and popping when she comes out, I would have thought you're a crazy person. But apparently Alexa Bliss is a miracle worker of some kind. She's just so beloved that anybody she takes in will also be beloved. So yeah, I appreciate that they're doing anything with them, and I think it is, to that end, working for the most part. Like, Charlotte is more useful now than she was when the Bliss thing started, and I think they work pretty well as a team. And again, I think it's nice that they're putting emphasis on the tag team title. Like, again, the promo wasn't crazy good or anything. They've had some really bad segments together, but it was fine and not embarrassing. Like, my wife walked in while I was watching that. I wouldn't have had to turn it off and run away or anything. Some segments. So yeah, it was fine. I thought it was good, not bad.
We had a backstage segment with Jade and B-Fab with Michin stepping in. How are you feeling about how Jade has been portrayed as a heel with the B-Fab and Michin dynamic now backstage?
Well, I think it's right. They should be portraying Jade as a dominant heel who treats lower totem baby faces with disrespect, and that's exactly what she's doing. Now, does she need to make B-Fab look like a complete nobody every week? I don't know. And Michin's not sticking up for her either. She's just yeah, B-Fab, she's garbage. Almost makes me think that B-Fab is going to turn and join with Jade, just because of how bad she's been treated and how she's not standing up for herself at all. She would make a perfectly fine follower, apparently.
A good Wheeler Yuta?
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, Michin is not a strong challenger for Jade as world champion. I don't think they obviously don't have a very good stable of good challengers for Jade. They have, as far as I can tell, nobody is who they got, since she's going after U.S. champion Chelsea Green and Michin, who's below that, if there is a below that.
Yeah. You adjusted your left ear and now your mic is muffled just 5 seconds ago. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably all it'll take. Good. Yeah. Derek Mitchell goes, yeah, I agree. Josh, B-Fab will align with Jade and betray Michin. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that, but I like it. I mean, it lines up. I mean, it makes logical sense.
Yeah, she just looks like such a lost, hurt puppy standing there as Jade gets her down.
Yep. I agree. Back to Charlotte and Alexa. Derek Mitchell says, Wade and Josh, do you see one of them turning on each other? It'd be obvious if one of the two turned heel, but I think it would be Alexa Bliss that turns on her. I don't want to see either of them turn, to be honest. I think this is, they can split up and go their separate ways, but I think a turn is just sort of oh, okay, this was always for that.
Right. It does kind of make you look back at everything oh, okay, so that's what all this was a waste of time for. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they so rarely just have people go their own way, stay friends, not feud. Um, so yeah, I think that would be the best case forward. But also, do I think they'll turn one of them heel? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And probably, like you said, Alexa, because they're getting decent results with Charlotte as a face at this point, which is a shocker. So I would say if they turn someone, they'll probably turn Alexa.
Yeah.
I don't think they should. But
I am leaning slightly to they do not turn either of them heel because Alexa Bliss is so popular, and I think they just want to keep her there. And I think that Charlotte's in a good spot, a better spot now than she was, and I think they'll recognize that and not want to mess with it. Fingers crossed that I'm right, or maybe it'll work out if I'm wrong. But fingers crossed that they don't tempt fate. All right, we had Solo Sikoa reacting to the Wyatts and everything going on there. What'd you think about the Solo Sikoa segment?
yeah, I thought that was a pretty good, Solo standing in the ring promo from Solo there. I thought it was mostly well delivered, focused, pretty good. I mean, I don't need him referencing Bray Wyatt. Referencing your dead brother is kind of an overdone thing. But overall, I thought it was a good promo. It's for a feud I don't care at all about. But if you put that aside, I thought it was well done.
Solo's been more fun on the microphone lately. It's kind of come on and over time. Ashley in the chat says Solo cracks me up now on the mic. He's grown so much. He was sort of just bland, just bland for a while. And there's something there. Still don't think it's like main event. I want to see him every week with a microphone. But what have you thought? How's your opinion of Solo over the last couple of years ebbed and flowed?
Yeah, no, I remember when he was in the Bloodline, he was like the strong, silent guy. I always thought he was like still played his character well. Like he had good facials, he reacted to things in a way I thought that kind of hinted at who his character might be, which I thought was great. And then when he kind of struck out on his own, like his version of Bloodline was kind of bad, and he was not a great leader of that. And part of that was that he wasn't out there cutting like compelling promos, or he wasn't involved in compelling non-wrestling segments or wrestling segments for that matter. But yeah, I would agree with whoever was saying that. He's kind of come on in the last couple months. He has some occasionally amusing one-liners, and is otherwise, I think, has a certain charisma, not like in your face kind of LA Knight style promo charisma. But I think there's something to him that kind of does make you want to listen to what he's saying, and I think that's a great starting point.
Goodfella says, I don't think people notice Solo's humor, but he's always been kind of funny to me.
Yeah, he's a little like, it's not like a big laugh out loud. It's kind of like, if you think about, that's kind of funny.
A little deadpan, or something just kind of hidden there for you to extract and feel clever for picking up on it. Now, Derek, I'm a stickler for tag ropes. I think wrestlers should have to hold a tag rope. I don't shout a lot at wrestling shows when I go these days, but I went to NXT last month and I was like yelling at wrestlers to grab the tag rope, because I was, like fourth row, and I was like, grab the tag rope. Come on. And then Kelly Wells is like, wait, shut up. No, actually, he was with me on that, I think. Anyway, Derek has a stickler. Do you know the Wyatt Six last defended the WWE Tag Team titles on October 10th edition of SmackDown against the Street Profits? They also haven't had a match since October 10th. And he says in the territory days, the Wyatt Six would be warned for not defending their titles the last 30 days. I'll add, then they'd get suspended, and then they'd be some demand that the suspension get lifted so they can defend the titles. I don't know. They have long ago given up on the 30-day rule. I don't know if we should call it Rock or Brock, who kind of made WWE completely forget about that. But we're not. I mean, I get the concept of requiring a champion to defend it every 30 days, but it also always kind of prompted the question of who's in charge. Like if you believe a wrestler has a title that they can defend in territories, like the world champion, and if they win the world title, they hoard it and go on vacation for 4 months, and you can see all the promoters just going, we need to have a requirement that if you don't defend it in 30 days, we'll strip you of it because you've disappeared without it. But when you work for a company and they're the ones paying your paycheck, I don't really buy the notion that so to me, it's more on the promoter than the tag team that they're not doing it. Didn't Big Show have like the U.S. title for like a year and a half, and people forgot the title existed and that he was champion, and then he just showed up again one time? And I'm exaggerating, but I think it was Big Show at one stretch where he was U.S. champion. Like all this time went by without it. So we're well past that being a rule, Joshua.
Right. Yeah. No, they haven't enforced or even mentioned that rule in years.
No.
There's yeah, like when did Cody defend his title last against Drew McIntyre at not War Games, pay per view before? So more than 30 days ago would be my
Mm-hmm.
guess. So
Yeah.
I mean, they don't mention it, they don't enforce it, but yeah, I agree. I always like that Derek is handy with the statistics because even though the 30-day thing is obviously not enforced and doesn't even make a lot of sense in today's layout, still it is crazy that the tag team champions have not done anything in almost 2 months at this point. That's more of a failing of the booking, obviously, than anything else. But it's depressing and kind of gives you an idea of why the tag titles are not a coveted item. They've been off TV for 2 months.
And I think the booker is sort of like the rating system where it's like it seems good until you're a booker who has to actually abide by rankings and wins and losses mattering. And then the inconvenience of somebody who's winning matches off to the side, but they're not getting a title shot because they're scheduled to get their title shot a year and a half from now in your booking scheme or 9 months from now, but you don't want to book them to lose in the feud that they're in. It's not practical to do ranking systems based on wins and losses, even with the quality of opponents built in as some sort of intangible, subjective thing. It just becomes more of a pain than it's worth. And everybody who introduces the ranking system, all the bookers and promoters find that out quickly and they abandon it. That's sort of the 30-day rule now. You get we got Brock Lesnar. He's back. He's going to be our champ. He's going to win at the Rumble. We want him to defend it at WrestleMania, but his focus is not going to be defending against some schmuck or some mid-card or whatever and squashing them every 30 days. They don't want to be bound to that. And so you have that aspect, big star, part-timer. Then you have Cody. He goes away to shoot a movie or selling, sometimes you just want to sell an injury, but you don't want to strip him of the title and you go past 30 days. You don't want people counting down the 30-day clock and then you have to force him onto TV in some random TV defense. Like they've made the decision on balance that rule is not worth the pain and inconvenience that is going to come up based on a variety of circumstances. Sometimes somebody legit gets injured, but you don't want to strip them of the title, but you think you can quietly get away with them taking, 6 weeks off and, but if you have a 30-day rule and you enforce it all the time, suddenly crap, he can't wrestle. He needs about 5 weeks to do some rehab and let his hamstring heal or whatever. What are we going to do? Now we have to hold a tournament. Everything gets blown up. So grabbing the tag rope is easy. And you have to slap hands. You don't slap backs. A tag is hand to hand while you're holding the tag rope. I think there's more. I'm not going to do 3 minutes on this, but I think there's actually more you can do with the tag rope being a rule than you lose by not having it as a rule because it just feels like chaotic. It feels like writing without grammar, without punctuation. So, but the 30-day rule, there's no real downside other than Derek Mitchell pointing out that used to be a thing and now it's not. But as long as you make it sound like the promoter's in charge and they use their discretion and you don't abuse it, I'm okay with there not being a hard and fast rule.
Right. Well, conceptually, anyways, the GMs, they're booking the matches. So if they don't book them to defend the title in 30 days, that's on management. That's not even why should they be stripped of the title if they weren't booked for a match? They don't book the matches theoretically. I know sometimes they do, but they're not supposed to.
Yep. Exactly. Yes. Real Legend on Solo. We'll get back to the other topic here. Solo taunting wrestlers with their mannerisms always makes me laugh. So there we go. Derek says, LOL, to be clear, I'm not asking to enforce the old 30-day rule, but they haven't had a match on SmackDown, and no other team besides Axiom and Gargano are asking about the titles. Fair enough. Yep. Derek, good. Good to defend yourself there against the shame of still being in favor of the 30-day rule. There's no shame in that. It's a legit stance to take, even though I completely debunked. Debunk's not the word. Standard Deviation says, should they apply that logic exclusively to mid-card titles? They're already implied to be work rate titles that measure a different skill set to the world title. I kind of like that.
Yeah, actually, I think that actually makes perfect sense it's considered defended on TV most of the time anyways. They're probably going to just by default be defended every so often. It'd be almost impossible to do with the world titles. You put 5 matches on a PLE every month. 2 of those would have to be title matches every time for them to even make that work. But yeah, for the Intercontinental and US, I think that actually would be interesting to introduce. Obviously, we don't have to worry about the US. That's defended weekly and is the highlight of SmackDown almost every week. But something similar with the Intercontinental might be interesting. I'm struggling to think who the Intercontinental champion is at the moment. So that's where that's at.
Yeah. Yep. Derek Mitchell says, Robert Gibson holding the tag rope, waiting for a hot tag from Ricky Morton was one of the best things in wrestling. I think at the NXT show, I was just shouting someone bothered to tie the tag rope. Don't make that. Don't make that a waste of time. Use the damn tag rope. It's lonely. It's there for a reason. Yeah, no, there is something about holding the tag rope. Just makes everything feel a little bit more official and a little less for your entertainment and a little bit more. There's rules we have to follow in this sport. I like, by the way, Cody in his promo. People always say, "Oh, in this business, in this industry," and Cody said, "Sport." When he was cutting his promo, he said that Drew broke an unwritten rule of our sport, and I've never understood why suddenly, it was like 30 years ago, everyone started calling it the industry or the business, and it's like, I don't think it was called that in the early 80s or late 70s. I think they called it a sport. And then they got self-conscious about it for some stupid reason. You're pretending to be a sport on TV, use the terminology of the thing you're pretending to be. And, well, we can't call it a judge if it's a courtroom show. We have to call it the person with a robe. Like, no, he's a judge on the show. Call it a judge. It's not a real courtroom. We'll call it a wood-paneled room with bench. No, like, it's a courtroom. It's okay. It's fiction. And Cody did it.
Not advertising it as a sport to, like, for like arenas, like, come see the sport. Like, no, it's not a sport in that way. But the people in it who are in the universe, as they like to say, should believe it to be a sport and should act as though it is a legitimate sport. So them calling it a sport, that's a thumbs up. That's a good.
And what you just said is so mind-blowingly obvious, but also blowing the minds of anybody in this industry who's never thought of it that way. Like, I mean, honestly, I think there's wrestlers and bookers who have never thought about the fact that, oh, wait, yeah, we shouldn't advertise it in a press like we shouldn't in a press release announcing a new TV deal going. The great sport of pro wrestling now has a new home. Like, you can say this. Well, I mean, you could. I don't think it would be the end of the world, but I get not doing it and going, oh, we don't want to make it seem like we're trying to pretend it's real outside the bounds of the stories. But of course, within the stories, you ought to. And there's this thing where they're like, well, we don't insult the fans' intelligence by pretending it's a sport during the show that's pretending to be a sport. It's so weird. And it's okay. It's okay. You can.
It's fine. If we're to believe that this guy's punching this other guy in the face repeatedly and there's no bruising, then I can also believe that this is a sport they're competing in.
Yes.
Not a stretch.
Yep. Now, I don't know where this came from. I glanced at the chat, and Standard Deviation goes, Hook's promo was so disappointing. I see nothing here that led to you saying that. What did poor Hook do to you, Standard Deviation, that led in the middle of a conversation about tag ropes? And Cody calling it a sport. Now you're ripping on Hook. So I want to know, Standard. Rude Dog says, I would go to an NXT show just to hear Wade scold the young wrestlers on tag ropes.
Actually, NXT is going to be here in Columbia next Saturday. I will go and yell about the tag ropes.
You know what?
Wade Keller said, grab the ropes.
Don't say just like, well, you can. I mean, you can if you want, but you can obviously. But just, I think everyone listening to this should start just yelling during tag matches. Hold the tag rope. Hold the tag rope. Let's turn that into a whole thing.
Yeah, don't go to an AEW show and do that though. You lose your voice like 5 minutes.
That's true. The Young Bucks would have to completely reconstruct everything that they've ever done in any of their matches ever. Yeah. Now Standard Deviation goes, haha, he's not telling us why he just ragged on Hook. Maybe there's something else in the chat I missed, but that promo.
For the record, I thought Hook's promo was fine. It was for Hook standards, not that bad. It was okay.
Yeah, by Hook standards, yes. I still can't figure him out. Goodfella says, that promo weighed on you, Standard. I understand. I expected more too. Derek Mitchell goes, Cody always carries himself with decorum and tradition. Not surprised he said sport and not industry or business. Oh, okay. Standard Deviation did clear it up. Hook's breakout promo was short and ended by saying this business instead of sport. There we go. I didn't pick up on that or forgot already. And he's saying it's a direct contrast with Cody. All right, cool. I'm glad I asked. I'm glad it's answered, and now the world knows. Okay, so let's see. Trying to think what else I wanted to. Oh yeah, I don't forget to do this. The plugs for Heatwave tomorrow with NXT. So we had Obafemi and Ricky Starks called to the building by Nick Aldis, and then Nick and Cody had been talking, and Cody wanted to give an opportunity, like John Cena graciously has done in this tournament, to someone else, and so he told Ricky Starks and Obafemi in person. He could have saved them a plane flight and a night off and just texted them, but
right, that could have been an email.
Yeah, a little phone call, just talk. Hey, good news. We're gonna announce it on Friday. No, travel out so I can tell you. It's like, anyway, yeah. So the winner of Starks defending against Obafemi gets a match against Cody Rhodes on Saturday's main event, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. I mean, I'm assuming, but I'm not sure, but I'm assuming, and it makes sense, that Starks retains the title tomorrow night now because Cody and Ricky Starks are friends going back to the
Right.
AEW days. I don't think they want to give away Obafemi right away against Cody without a backstory, but I don't rule out that could be, a big splash for Obafemi on Peacock on a show that a lot of people are watching because of Cena, and they just want to introduce Obafemi with a big spotlight on him. So I'm not ruling it out, but I don't have as obvious a scenario as, well, Cody has a really good match with Ricky, wants to give Ricky a little rub. Ricky's had, his NXT title run has been met with mixed results in terms of crowd reactions and match quality. So let's give him a chance to show what he can do against Cody. So I think it's kind of cool to do that. There's a little bit of a pat on the head that kind of Cena gave to Cody, with Cody giving it to the winner of that match. Well, I'll give you a match. But I don't know. That's nitpicking. Cody wants to be fighting champ, and he's like, let's do something extra. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. I remember Cena saying that he wanted his final show not to be all about him, that he wanted like up and comers having a chance to make a big impression. So I think this is in that spirit, and I think to that end, it's a pretty good use of Oba or Ricky, depending on what to go with. I'm with you. I think I'm assuming Ricky just because of his and Cody's relationship, and I think it would maybe really help out Ricky's kind of lackluster NXT run to go tussle it up with Cody on the main roster. If I assume whoever wins loses to Cody, unless they're really pushing Obafemi like right out the gate. That would be a really interesting way to do it. Just have him come in and beat the snot out of Cody. But that causes future issues. Although losing to Cody could make a kind of interesting future storyline for Obafemi if he fails to beat Cody in this debut, and then later down the road has a shot at him for the title, for instance, and maybe Cody's a heel at this point. It could open up some interesting avenues that way. But my assumption is him and Ricky will have a fine match, and that'll be that.
Did they announce? I'm trying to think. Did Aldis announce whether he's gonna? He didn't say he's gonna let Drew out of his suspension to fight Cody, right?
I don't think he landed anywhere on that, even though I think you and I are savvy enough to figure out how that might go down.
Yes. But I'm wondering if Aldis stalls and then Drew interferes in the Cody match on Saturday's main event, and that leads to Cody getting even more enraged, and Aldis goes, all right, like, the suspension isn't stopping Drew, so maybe Cody, you can. I mean, maybe it plays out that way. It's only 8 days away.
Yeah, I mean, assume that would make sense. It would be another step in the Cody Drew never-ending feud they got going on.
Although you don't want Cody losing you don't want Ricky Starks over Femi winning it because Drew knocks out Cody. That's a really crappy way to change the title. And so it can happen a different way than that. But yeah. Okay, so some thoughts on this from the chat. Derek Mitchell says, the added incentive to the winner of Ricky Saints Obafemi, the winner gets Cody at Sunday's main event. Okay, that's not really an opinion. That's just saying things I think. Goodfellas says, I was thinking Starks was going to win. Now I kind of feel like Oba has to win. But then does Oba lose? Now I'm torn. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Starks beating Obafemi. Yeah, I don't know what. Do you have anything in mind in terms of how Starks beats Oba? Unless they just want Starks to go over clean. I mean, you could.
Yeah, I mean, clean in the center of the ring, I think, is fine. It again keeps Ricky on a. I think Oba can lose, and he still, whenever he makes his main roster debut, can still just be debuted as like an unbeatable monster. That's fine. So he can lose in NXT. It shouldn't be a problem. Meanwhile, I think Ricky would have just a clean victory. Him in the middle of the ring would be look good on Ricky. Like I said, his title run is lighting the world on fire right now. But I think that would it would definitely help.
There is a problem of a champ versus a champ, and then one of the champs loses, and then they go back to the other show and are like, I'm still the champ.
Yeah, they also have a long history of saying the NXT champion is below the U.S. champion on the main roster, too, though. So, I mean...
Yeah, it's not good for the NXT brand.
It's not, but they're technically, theoretically developmental, so it kind of makes sense. Like, I remember when Kevin Owens showed up on the main roster with NXT title and lost to, I believe, John Cena. I mean, there's a history of it. And
there is.
Makes sense. Kind of, although you think ideally they would just not bring up somebody, the NXT champion, to lose. That would be the best way to do it, but that's not how they've done it historically. So, who knows?
Yeah.
You can hope.
Yeah, you can hope.
They're definitely bringing up the NXT champion, though. They've been very clear about although if Oba wins by disqualification, does Ricky retains the title and Oba comes up for the match. I don't know. Maybe that's how they do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they don't do DQs enough as cop-out finishes. Let's start doing that.
Yeah, they almost never do that. So this would be a really interesting change of pace down there in NXT.
Exactly. All right, Derek says, as much as I'd like to see Obafemi win back the NXT title and face Cody. Powder Pete says, I was kind of surprised to see Oba return to NXT. I thought for sure he was being called up. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting seeing NXT guys on top NXT guys and women on a main roster show before they're officially formally introduced with whatever their main roster character is going to be. I have mixed feelings about it. It takes something away from Obafemi. Use it for anybody. The first appearance of someone in NXT who's really shined and has sort of been on the rise, when they actually appear on TV without any ceremony, with it's just like, it sort of feels anticlimactic then when they get, kind of officially called up or make their debut. I kind of feel that way about the Royal Rumble a little bit. I mean, there's pros and cons to it. I'm just saying one of the downsides of NXT wrestlers showing up in the main roster or randomly appearing in the Rumble is you can't have that first time ever again. It's spent on something that isn't them as a centerpiece with a bunch of framing of it.
Right. That is a risk you run. I think this is a small enough little just second on screen. You weren't introduced to the character at all, really. In fact, if you don't watch NXT, you probably don't really know who either one of those guys are, and you might not even care. So when Obafemi shows up for assuming like his first match and look dominant, like this will just be like a footnote on that. I don't think most people will remember it just because it really was like 20 seconds on a random SmackDown. Of course, whoever goes and loses to Cody on Saturday Night's Main Event is going to have a different story to tell.
We also had Aldous saying Bayley will face Sol Ruca from NXT. So we're getting more of that, the NXT theme. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they are pushing towards, they really want people to watch that NXT show, which, I mean, good. They should be trying, and they have the main roster leverage to that end. So, yeah, that's good for them. I think Bayley versus Sol Ruca, that should be interesting. I assume Sol Ruca wins, right? She has more to gain. I don't know. Like I said, that's an interesting match. Like, I like Sol Ruca a lot, and obviously Bayley is kind of an established star who I also enjoy. So, yeah, I'm interested in that match, but I'm not sure where they're going or what they're doing with it.
Derek Mitchell, by the way, says, I'm concerned to see how Oba will be booked on the main roster, as WWE has historically not booked black male wrestlers well on the main roster. And there's another comment here. Oh, Standard Deviation said, I'd like to see Oba drop the accent before he's called up. Yeah, there's a lot. Oba's being touted as a future star, and people are going to be, a lot of eyes are going to be on him when he gets called up in terms of how Paul Levesque handles him on the main roster.
Is the accent put on? Is that not his real legitimate? That's not how he actually sounds? Because I don't think I've ever seen him outside of NXT. That's how he sounds.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but hopefully.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a plus in his favor. I think he would probably be better off without it. But if that's how he sounds, that's how he sounds.
Yeah, it's like, you don't want to seem like you have a fake accent. You don't want to do the Apollo Crews thing or Kofi Kingston thing. Yeah. Sol Ruca, Goodfellas says, Sol Ruca's ring ready, character ready. We shall see, but she's very likable. Standard Deviation says, Kofi Kingston and Apollo Crews. Goodfellas says, Oba just has a cool swag. He takes hard bumps. He cuts good promos. He's awesome. There we are. The Soul Snatcher says, Father Repeat will get over easily. Oh, and by the way, I called it Heatwave earlier, and a couple of people corrected me. It's Deadline on tomorrow night. Yeah, Heatwave was a theme of the last couple of weeks of NXT TV. And as I said it, I was like, I don't think this is right, but I didn't have an alternative, so I just went with what wasn't right instead of not saying anything. And fortunately, I got corrected there. I don't want people entering Heatwave on their Roku, search box and not finding the show and then being mad at me because they should have entered Deadline. So,
it's very likely to happen.
Yes. Damian Priest, Aleister Black, mixed tag next week, where the respective women are joining them. What do you think of what the vignettes and the setup for this with Zelina Vega and Rhea joining in the fight for a mixed tag next week?
Yeah, that's happening. I thought it was interesting. Like, Damian getting Rhea on his side makes sense. The history's there. They have the horrible name Terror Twins to build off of. I do think it was weird that they revealed that in a vignette towards the beginning of the show, and somehow Aleister and his wife were prepared their own vignette in response to that surprise reveal of Rhea joining him.
Mm-hmm.
Like they already had it pre-produced and ready to go. So I mean, they're very quick on the edit, or they knew what was going to happen. Either way, very
Yeah.
impressive.
We don't know when the first one was filmed.
It's true. And do they show it to them before? Do they say, "Hey, by the way, Alistair, watch this. We're going to air this later"?
That's
how it works. I don't know.
It's not as egregious as when there's a heavily produced vignette that acknowledges the outcome of the match right before it airs.
That's true.
They did that a couple weeks ago. So we're not in that territory. But again, if they had a logic czar, nothing like that would ever make air.
Right. And maybe they would go, well, nobody will notice. And that's probably exactly what they did. And that's how they got here.
Exactly. And that just stacks up. I mean, at some point, you're like, well, nobody will notice. I call them straight in your time moments. It's like there's just a bunch of things you can do that add up to a product just feeling more cohesive and more tended to. I don't know.
Right. Alistair and Zelina could just responded in a backstage promo, no problem, or whatever. They could have aired that last week. There's 100 ways around it. It's not that big a deal. That's what they thought. That's how we got what we got. Yeah. But adding Rhea to that feud seems like a gross mismatch. Like if you take the idea that Aleister Black and Damian Priest are on a similar level, and then you add Rhea, who is one of the biggest and best on the roster, men or woman, to take on Zelina, like that's a total mismatch. They won't play it that way, I'm sure, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I guess that match is next week. It'll be interesting. They don't always do great on mixed tag matches, but I will watch it because it'll be on TV.
Yeah, cool. Joshua, anything else you want to bring up from the show tonight, or in general?
Oh, in general, you just opened up.
I did.
I do just want to throw out that the Michael Cole trying to get nicknames over in general is really killing me. I like Lash Legend in theory, but if they call her the Bougie Bully 2 more times, I'm out. I will sell all my Lash Legend stock and just move on with my life.
Michael Cole Cole's a cool killer. I mean, that moment when he's like CM Punk, the pipe bomb throwing superstar, and I was like, oh no, you could not corporate sloganize what CM Punk did. It is. We are so mad at CM Punk for breaking character and speaking, hijacking the show. But we have a nickname ready for him, and it'll be on T-shirts at WWE Shop right now. So yeah, good point. All right, very good. Well, everybody, have a good weekend. We got NXT Deadline tomorrow night, and ROH Final Battle going on right now. Maybe you'll hear good things about it and order it on delay. Joshua, there's something else, right?
Oh,
this weekend?
There is. There's something tomorrow night. So if you're going to watch Saturday night's main event and you have some sick curiosity about what happens on Collision, I'll be watching that and reporting on it.
And we'll have it on
SNME later.
We'll have it on PWTorch.com waiting for you. So you can watch. There's a good match. I mean, Continental Classic, it's actually Collision becomes more relevant with Continental Classic.
It helps. I appreciate it immensely.
Absolutely. All right, what I appreciate immensely is VIP members. It helps us do what we do. And you don't do it just for us, but I mean, you can do it for me or us. I mean, that's fine. I mean, we'd like your support, but do it for you. Treat yourself to a VIP subscription. A $12.99 monthly subscription membership drops down to $3.99 when you use coupon code NOV2025. That $9 discount coupon, by the way, can be applied to a 3-month or 12 months up to if you prefer. But you can spend just $3.99, unlock nearly 4 decades of my professional life's work and that of a ton of really talented contributors. Audio format, nearly 2,000 back issues of the Pro Wrestling Torch Weekly newsletter, long-form Torch Talks before there were podcasts with wrestlers and shoot tapes even. The Torch Talk was a pioneer of getting wrestlers and promoters and bookers and managers to talk on record about the inner workings of the wrestling industry. Early Torch Talk interviews with Paul Heyman, Jim Cornette, Mick Foley. The first big name was Vern Gagne, AWA champ, AWA promoter. Bill Watts. It is a who's who of 80s and 90s wrestling in the early Torch Talk long-form series. And vast majority of them on demand, available in the back issues of the Pro Wrestling Torch newsletter, and many of them in our Torch Talk special section. There are rabbit holes to go down and experience what wrestling journalism was like pre-internet. Because we are out there and you can unlock that and discover a whole world of hard-hitting editorials, fascinating insight into what's going on behind the scenes with the machinations and politics of everything. And we were all over it in the pre-internet era. Those back issues are fascinating. And while you're thinking about that, subscribe to the PWTorch Daily Cast, because there is a show called the 90s Pastcast where they review Alex and Patrick review the Pro Wrestling Torch newsletter from 30 years ago that week. Things I wrote and reported on, things other people had to say, Torch Talk interviews. Blind quotes was a big thing in the 90s. It's always fun reading those blind quotes from what people are saying about what's going on behind the scenes. They couldn't go on record with their name, but they'd say stuff, we'd quote it. So really cool stuff. They review that. So you get the, of course, commercial-free versions of those shows when you go VIP. The commercial breaks are taken out of the free shows, and then there's a ton of VIP exclusive content, including, as I noted, the Wade Keller news bulletins, which are a podcast format, new feature that we're getting a lot of compliments on, and so you can find out why. Joshua, thanks. Well, I look forward to your report on Collision tomorrow night.
Absolutely, can't wait.
Thanks. Thanks everybody, and we will talk to y'all next time.